a woman and her daughter on a plane. At 30,000 feet, the child disappears, and nobody will admit she was ever on the plane. Kyle Pratt, residing in Berlin, Germany, works as a propulsion engineer. Recently, her husband David tragically passed away after falling from the roof of an avionic manufacturing building. Now Kyle, accompanied by her 6-year-old daughter Julia, is flying home to Long Island for David's funeral. They fly in an Elgin 474 passenger plane, which Kyle helped design. After dozing off for a while, Kyle awakens to discover that Julia is nowhere to be found. Initially trying to stay calm, Kyle's anxiety grows, leading Captain Marcus Rich to initiate a search. Surprisingly, none of the fellow passengers recall seeing Julia. When a flight attendant contacts the airport, they receive information indicating no record of Julia boarding. The passenger manifest shows Julia's seat as unoccupied. After checking for Julia's boarding pass, Kyle realizes it's missing. Marcus refuses to allow a search of the cargo hold, citing safety concerns for the search team in the event of turbulence-induced shifts in the plane. Marcus and the rest of the crew suspect Kylie is having a mental breakdown as a result of her husband's recent death, imagining the presence of her daughter on the flight. Kyle's desperation grows as the crew becomes more skeptical about the existence of his daughter. Eventually, Marcus orders Air Marshal Gene Carson to keep an eye on her and handcuff her as a precaution. Marcus later receives a message from a hospital in Berlin informing him that Julia was with her father when he fell off the roof and died from internal injuries. The crew now believes she is delusional. A therapist on board tries to console her, causing Kyle to question her own sanity, until she notices a heart Julia had drawn earlier on the window. Kyle convinces the therapist to allow her to use the loo. With her handcuffs removed, she climbs into the upper compartment and sabotages the aircraft's electronics. Some passengers fight with the red herring Arabs on board. During the chaos, Kyle takes the elevator to the lower freight deck to search for Julia. Finally, she opens her husband's casket, leading to an emotional breakdown. Carson finds her and escorts her back. Kyle makes one last plea to Carson to search the plane upon landing. Carson promises to speak with the captain. Instead, he returns to the freight deck to remove 2 small explosives and a detonator hidden in David's casket. He then goes down to a section of the avionics section, where Julia is seen sleeping, presumably drugged. Carson, Stephanie, and the coroner in Berlin are revealed to be part of a conspiracy. Carson informs the captain that Kyle is a hijacker and has threatened to blow up the plane unless the airline transfers $50 million into a bank account. Carson tells Stephanie that he plans to blow up the aircraft's avionics section, killing Julia, and then leave Kyle dead with the detonator in her hand. After an emergency landing, the passengers exit the plane as FBI agents surround the tarmac. Kyle rushes to speak with the captain as he leaves, accompanied by Carson. Carson's deception is revealed when the captain demands she abandon her charade. Kyle quickly takes the role of hijacker, demanding that Carson remain on board, and the crew leave the plane. Once the airplane door is closed, Kyle knocks out Carson with a fire extinguisher, cuffs him to a rail, and takes the detonator from his pocket. However, Carson quickly recovers and shoots at Kyle using a concealed firearm. Taking refuge in the cockpit, Kylie learns of Carson's conspiracy as he tries to dissuade her. Kyle opens a hatch door to the upper level and tosses out a binder. The noise distracts Carson, leading him to take a look upstairs. Seizing the opportunity, Kyle leaves the cockpit and encounters a remorseful Stephanie. Through conversation, Kyle talks her down and then punches her out. Panicking, Stephanie flees the plane, leaving Carson behind. Kyle explores the avionics area and eventually discovers Julia unconscious. Carson catches up, revealing during the search that he had silenced and disposed of Kyle's daughter in the food bin. He belittles the other passengers on board, suggesting their indifference. Carson sees Kyle carrying Julia and trying to escape through a small door with the detonator. Carson shoots at Kyle just as she closes the door. Kyle triggers the explosives, resulting in Carson's demise. Fortunately, the compartment where Kyle and Julia sought refuge proves to be non-combustible. Carrying Julia, Kylie exits through a cargo door, while everyone watches in shock. Later, in the airport's passenger waiting area, Marcus apologizes to Kyle. Stephanie is led away by FBI agents. Kyle carries Julia through the mass of passengers, silently redeeming herself. In a van ready to leave, Julia finally wakes up and asks Kyle, "Are we there yet?" as they drive away. Thanks for watching. To catch all the latest from us, subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified as soon as a new video drops. We'll see you in the next one.